headquarters, that in as much as you may have administrative capacity, you do need additional political leadership that can share different responsibilities so that there is authority in whosoever has that mandate. And out of those deliberations, we then went to the policy conference, and that's when then there was this proposal mooted, which then was adopted yesterday. Where we are, it is quite clear that the roles and responsibilities will be in line with the plans around the reorganization of the ANC and the role of the SG in terms of political management, strategic leadership, as well as providing guidance on the functioning of the National Executive Committee and all structures of the ANC. So it is not just a decision that has been arrived at with regard to creating space for additional people. It is informed by the review as well as the modernization process of the African National Congress, and we are looking forward to those responsibilities already being spelled out in the Constitution as well as in the program of action for the coming 5 years, and the inputs that are going to come from the commissions on organizational renewal, organizational management, as well as organizational development. The second issue that I want to also deal with, what are the plans for the women's agenda? The agenda is informed by the aims and objectives of the ANC, that of building a non-racial and non-sexist South Africa. But amongst other things is to ensure that we have capacity and capability not only of individuals but the institution, the African National Congress, of being able to be gender sensitive as well as being able to be conscious in taking decisions, as well as ensuring that we respond to issues that affect women, not only on the social front, but also in the area of security, in the area of leadership, as well as in the area of economic development. There is a document that was presented in the policy conference. It has since been incorporated in the organizational report that speaks on those issues that are going to be prioritized. And once the resolutions are adopted, that would also be shared with your good selves post to the Manawu meeting that is going to be a hybrid session. What are the reasons for the adjournment of this conference? The reasons are straightforward. Many of our delegates have to go to work tomorrow. They have to report for duty. Secondly, we also had challenges about the accreditation process, because headquarters has actually been ahead of our members in terms of using a system that our members had not necessarily complied with, and that actually created a problem. On the issues of elections and stuff, we know that at plenary, delegates also have a right to nominate from the floor. And of importance is that everybody who was also nominated from the floor had to go through that vetting process that everyone went through prior to the nominations being pronounced by Comrade Khalil. So there was work that was done the entire night yesterday until this morning at 2:30 between ourselves in the ANC working together with the electoral committee. So there was work, and that is one of the things that was overlooked, that being nominated, it must not automatically mean you go into the ballot. There must also be, you must fulfill that process that the guidelines had actually put out as a condition. On the representation of women and what the President has raised, part of the constitutional amendments were also sharing, just reflecting earlier on with Comrade Marubeni, the SG, that one of the constraints is the constitutional requirement. The ANC branches have grown, but as they have grown, the constitution says a branch has to be represented, a branch in good standing has to be represented by one delegate. So what you do then, you first allocate every branch in good standing one delegate. And that actually reflected that the majority of the delegates who were then elected by branches were men. So it immediately just created a problem. And then the proportional allocation was an allocation that was given to those branches that have got more than an additional 150 and then another 150 going upward. And that's where then gender parity applied, where you have the second delegate being a female. Of course, in the 4,000, there are, I think in our estimation, were almost just 270 that were represented by women. And we do believe that it's quite an indictment on the ANC, and a lot of work has to be done. So that constitutional requirement, SG, that says 1, we definitely have to look at it. It does not say 2. And imagine if we had 2, we would have had 8,000 just as a start, being representatives of branches only. The non-attendance in commissions, one of the things that we have also registered is exactly that. Without defending those who actually went AWOL from commissions, provinces had met and there were submissions. And in one of the commissions that I chaired, we had a lot of submissions that were coming from the provincial presentations. So we do take note that the ones a poor attendance in some, not even in all of them, but there was also submissions that were made on behalf of a province or on behalf of a sector. The leagues themselves have also had their submissions presented in the different commissions. I think ST, those are the areas that I would respond to, and you may then add if I've omitted anything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Top 7, I've promised you that, and I still keep that promise, and it will happen next year. The top 7 of the ANC, led by the President, before January 8 in Mangaung. The allegation that our commissions were poorly attended, it's a poor, unfounded fabrication. Because we finished, I briefed you yesterday, we finished around 12 o'clock, the commissions. We voted up until that time. So you were voting from the commissions for the top 7, and that is what happened. So our commissions were well attended, and they produced good results. And the rapporteurs and the chairs of the commissions will give you the flavor of what was discussed and what is the attitude of the delegates and the conference on a whole number of issues, up until we come back to you again in about 2 weeks or 3 weeks. The president of the ANC is the custodian of policy. He pronounces policy. It means he has read the resolutions. He has a thorough understanding of what is the spirit of conference on a whole number of issues. So there's nothing like personal views from the president. He is given that by the ANC constitution. Just like me, I'm the custodian of the ANC constitution. You misbehave, I deal with you. And there will be no retreat on that. That's what this conference have bestowed on me. Not as Mbalula, Secretary General, is expected to enforce the law of the ANC. Renewal or death. That's what we must do. When we say we renew, we must be unambiguous about renewal. It must be felt, it must be seen that this is the party that is renewing itself, not a party that comes to a conference and struggle with registration. In the era of technological highway, people are using technology and all of that. What happened here will be something of the past. The ANC must be dynamic. Good things and advanced things must be seen from the ANC. Just like South Africa, when you want to see good things in style and fashion, you always look at Soweto. And then you know that Soweto. Then thereafter will just be following, because Soweto has been a trendsetter in many ways, because they are just next to OR Tambo Airport, Soweto people. So now we are very far from airports where we come from. We don't even, it is only during the era of democracy that we got exposed to airports and aeroplanes. So that is the report, that is the issue with regard to the matter of the president address. The issue of role of two DSGs, each one of them will have a role to play, but they've got their strength as persons, but we want everyone to express themselves and not close them down on what the Constitution says it is expected from them. It means they must do the political work. They are political officers. The Deputy Secretary General's role in the main was reduced to administrative work. But even if it is not written in the Constitution, Nomvula and Maropeni, they are political animals. They must express themselves. They must lead and not become administrators. They must lead politically and based on their capabilities and their strengths. Yesterday, DSGs, I was asked about what am I bringing in this portfolio by Nkokeli, I think. Yeah. So I explained to him that my upbringing and training is organizational development and party construction. I'm an expert on that. I was trained very, very, very far about that work. So, in the school of excellence called the ANC Youth League, I was trained in that. So, I was trained also by the Germans. So, when you do my profiling, I'll give you some things you don't know. But we leave that to one-on-one, okay? But thank you very much. We are continuing, like we said, so you will get the result this afternoon. So we don't want to delay. Over to the presenters, and thank you, Comrade Pule, for the diligent work you are doing with the media. Your job is guaranteed. Thank you.
You get voted for. He doesn't know. Pule, I said it's not voted.
Well, thanks very much to the SGO for the time. Thanks so very much. We are still going to be here with the commissions for the next 3-4 hours. Last time we did 6 hours. So, still going to be a bit hectic. Okay, we are going to start with ETC. Colleagues from the media. One of the journalists